Welcome, YouTubers, to the next edition of Chinese vocabulary during the Tang and Song dynasties. Right now we're going to be looking at three words. This is slightly out of order from what I would have asked you, but it makes sense together. So these words are the Empress Wu, Zhao Kuangyin, and finally the Liao Dynasty. So let's start with the Empress Wu. The Empress Wu was a Tang empress, which is a female ruler in the family Tang, who supported Buddhism. That's her kind of basic description. So what? Well, this comes at a very interesting time where Confucianists and Buddhists are kind of battling for control. And the idea here is that Confucianism had always been kind of the very dominant political system in China, and Buddhism is a religious system which usually has no emphasis on government in the same way that Confucianism does. So Confucianism is very much based on the idea of education and respect and the studyings of Confucius. Buddhism is very much based on equality, compassion, and the teachings of the Buddha. And so the Empress Wu giving preference to Buddhism was a major blow to Confucianism and the Confucianist scholars. And in fact, because the Empress was able to kind of do as she pleased, she was able to promote Buddhism to the people, and it was no surprise that Buddhism became very popular during her reign. The big issue is that afterwards, in the late Tang era, Buddhists were almost openly persecuted by Confucianists, and Confucianists ended up kind of winning the day in the Tang era. So, but she brought in this idea of Buddhism being more of a state religion, and Buddhism still definitely does have a lot of adherents in China, although it is a minority religion. The next word is, who did I say? Zhao Kuangyin. That's right. Zhao Kuangyin is the first emperor of the Song Dynasty. So, after the Tang emperors had resigned in the year 907, just into the 10th century here, the Zhao Kuangyin took control and was able to manage to kind of keep disorder and chaos away from China. By 960, had established the Song Dynasty. So what? Well, the Song Dynasty was instrumental in keeping China back together, but they were less inclined to military action, more inclined to rebuilding the bureaucracy and making sure that the administration of government was going well. But as a result, this led to a smaller Chinese dynasty than the Tang had been able to achieve. And part of this comes with the next vocab word, which is the Liao Dynasty. Now, the Liao Dynasty was not actually a Chinese dynasty, but a northern nomadic dynasty that was causing all sorts of problems for the Chinese, and the Song emperors were forced to pay tribute to these guys, essentially give money so that they wouldn't attack them, because they were extremely well-equipped militarily, and the Chinese emperors in the Song Dynasty knew that the Liao Dynasty could probably conquer them. And so the Liao Dynasty was very happy to take money from the Chinese emperors, but the significance of this is that it showed kind of a fatal flaw in the Song Dynasty, which was the inability to deal with outside invaders. And as we see, the Mongols are able to come in the 13th century, sweep through China, and in fact conquer China, which may have been prevented had the Song emperors held a little more firm on being able to have a strong military, but we'll never know. The Mongols were pretty awesome. So those three words lumped together pretty well. I'll be back again very shortly with another edition. So be awesome, YouTubers.